I had a strategy between 2020 and 2022 that made me millions of dollars. And while part of that strategy is invalidated, the other part I believe is going to crush it in this market. But there is some caveats and there is a lot to learn. So let's get into it. So here we've got the price chart of Polkadot up on the screen. Now, I've talked about Polkadot before in the past. It's not my favorite crypto anymore. It's got very little use case. Not a lot of people are using it. There are people building on it, but it's really not being used. Its wallet is crap. Its interface on all of its decentralized applications is crap. And honestly, I just don't see Polkadot going back to its all-time highs this time around. I could be wrong. Maybe it hits its all-time high, but I don't think it's going to necessarily go much higher from there. Now, what ended up happening was Polkadot, I ended up getting in at about $3 back in early 2020. And that was a really good decision on my behalf, a really good investment, because as you can see here at its top, I was actually at a 17.3x return. So if you would have taken $1,000 and invested it in Polkadot, I would have ended up with $17,300. Now I invested a lot more than that into Polkadot. And I also ended up making money from yield farming. All right. And there was so much money being made in yield farming in decentralized finance back in 2020 and 2020 through 2022 that I was earning at sometimes with Polkadot about 100% more in Polkadot, not the price of the Polkadot going up by 100%, but I earned an additional 100%, meaning I doubled the amount of Polkadot that I had plus the price increase just in 1 month. Now that's how I ended up turning a little bit of money into a lot of money. I don't have those numbers crunched here because it's really hard to see and go back in the blockchain. We didn't have those tools back then, but the good news is now we do have those tools, and I'll be bringing you more and more data on this stuff like I will later on in this presentation. Now, here's the thing. A lot of people, when they get into crypto, they just ape in. They don't do any research. There's no fundamental research into these cryptos. And some people, they take the fundamental stuff way too crazy. Like they just go in and it becomes a cult for them. No, this is what's going on. XRP is going to, get in with all the banks, and Cardano is going to be the biggest blockchain in the world. But who's really using it? Just like Polkadot, nobody's using it. Really, it's kind of like a dead chain in my opinion. Now there's developers, but there's no users like Ethereum. Ethereum has the most amount of developers, and between the Ethereum and the layer 2 Ethereums, there is multiple different users, so much that there's like double than any other blockchain out there. Solana is maybe the closest competitor to it, and then maybe like Tron and all that stuff. But a lot of shady stuff going on the Tron blockchain, so I kind of stay away from that one. And that's where I started, by the way, in DeFi, but it's just no bueno. Anyways, back to this. This was a strategy that I used in order to make a lot of money. Now, the problem is I kind of got lucky last time, and I damn near sold this top. Now, I didn't sell all of my Polkadot at the top, but I sold a lot of it near the top, and I held on to some of it because I ended up putting them into some staking stuff where I ended up earning more yield, but the juice was not worth the squeeze. Now, let's take a look at like what I did with Polkadot, all right? And ADA. ADA was another one that I made a lot of money. You can see here, I ended up putting them up as collateral, and then I ended up borrowing money against it so that I could let these cryptos keep rising, and then I could take profits against it without necessarily having to cash out my ADA or my Polkadot. And you can see here's a withdrawal that I took in cash that I spent or reinvested into something else in the amount of $7,500. Here's another loan that I took out against all this stuff for $6,300. Here's another one for $15,000. Here's another one for $32,700. So I was able to pull this money out, spend this, or invest it in, maybe another investment that I was doing really, really well in. And I was able to keep compounding my money and making even more money. Now, this was great because even last year I did this. This was an investment that I started in July of 19th. I took some money out and I ended up investing it into these leverage trades. And why is this relevant? I'm going to show you here in a little bit, but you can see here in Ethereum, by the time I got to, this was done in December, which Bitcoin, let's take a look at here. Bitcoin's price, okay, so let's take a look here. So Bitcoin's price was at 61,000. It didn't even hit its all-time high, okay? I ended up going from, well, let's take a look at Ethereum first. Ethereum here was a 235% return in a very, very short amount of time. So actually, this was from July 19th to January something here. You can see here. So I ended up making on my Ethereum 235% using leverage, okay? You can see here 318% for my BTC using leverage. Solana, during that same period, 912% using leverage. Now, this completely outperformed the crypto market. I did really, really well. Here's another one, 308% on staked ETH, all right? These are some of the things that I actually teach in my course, and we teach you so that you keep custody. You don't have to go through an FTX, a Celsius, name the failed exchange. You don't have to go through that. You can actually do all of this stuff on the blockchain, so you have complete control, but you do need to learn how to do this. It's actually a very easy skill if you have the right people teaching you. But I have a 7-day free course down below. There's a link to it. Head over there. We have an amazing community, an amazing app on Google and Apple, and on the desktop as well. Check it out. It's 7 free days, then $97 per month thereafter. But these are just some of the example of returns that I've done and this is during this cycle. Now, let's take a look at one of my top 5. So I used Polkadot was one of my top 10 cryptos. Now I've nailed it down to top 5 because I want to put even more into those cryptos and I want to ride them up as much as I can. Now, one of those cryptos in my top 5 is FXS or Frax shares. Now, this should come as no surprise to you because I have been talking about Frax shares for a very long time. And the reason I keep talking about them is not because I'm in some cult. It's because fundamentally they keep building more and more things that actually bring value to their customers, all right? I'm one of them. I use their staked ETH function, I use their borrowing and lending function, and I use their farms, and I use their blockchain. So I'm using like 4 different things in order to benefit me in decentralized finance. And a lot of people are also using this. Right now, it is like the 15th largest blockchain in terms of AUM when it comes, or AUM means assets under management, when it comes to this. So this is something that I really do think is going to explode. Now, how high do I think FXS is going to go? Well, one, let me just say this. This is not financial advice, all right? And I want to make sure that everybody knows that because I am here to show you this for educational purposes only. But I actually think it's going to hit about $100 per Frax share. Now, if that were the case, you'd be looking at a 44x return, meaning if you put in $1,000, you could end up with $44,000. Now, if I use 2 times the amount of leverage for that, how much do I end up with? I'd end up with $88,000. Now, you have to learn how to set the stop losses on correctly. And most importantly, you have to learn the entry because a lot of people get into crypto. They don't even know when to get in. They don't know when to get out. They just listen to their favorite influencer and they're all fundamental as opposed to actual using some indicators. I don't even like technical analysis, to be quite honest with you. It's crystal ball magic shit. That's not the sort of stuff that I like. I like things that give me a good idea as to when I can get in and when I can get out. How can I put bumper rails so that I don't go into the other lane when I'm bowling? That's what I want, okay? And I want to be consistent on my strategy. So you can see here, this red line, this is called the SSL. I talk about this. This is momentum trading. If you want to learn more about momentum trading, by the way, I have a video right here that you can check out. But you can see here that if the lines turn red, this means I'm out. Or short, which don't go short if you don't know what you're doing, all right? It can be devastating for you if you don't know what you're doing, you don't understand your strategy. When the lines turn blue, this is the time that I get in. Now, you can see here, this is the point in time that I would have taken this trade, and this is the point in time that I would have gotten out of this trade. Now, you can see this went from October to February, all right? This is less than almost 3.5 months that I was in this trade, and I ended up making 40% on this trade by using this simple indicator, getting in and getting out. Doesn't have to be drawing lines and all this stuff. You just have to follow the indicator, all right? And you have to know the tools so that you can get in and out as the indicator flips on and off, okay? But right here, 40%. If I would have just held because, no, the team is building, and they are. No, I think this is going to go up. I do think so. If you would have just done that, let's take a look at how much you'd be in drawdown. So let's say, for instance, again, I'm down here to today's date. Okay, from here to here, 73.84% loss. Man, that hurts, all right? That hurts. So you've got to make sure that you're choosing those entry and exit points. Now, remember that 44x, well, what I plan on doing is using leverage like here, this example that I showed you. See, what you want to do is you want to be able to ride that momentum up. So when you have that polka dot that goes up 17x, or you have that ADA that goes up even more than that, okay? You're using just a little bit of leverage. You don't need a lot. A little bit of leverage, and you have the tools to protect your downside. Now, we actually have a way that we manage your crypto on the blockchain so that you take all the guesswork out of this, and it's very, very easy. We use an algorithm. In fact, we don't manage it. It's actually set on an algorithm so that you can ensure that you get in at the right time and you get out at the right time. And this is key, guys, because a lot of your favorite influencers are going to tell you, well, just take profit once you've doubled your money. Okay, what if it keeps going up? What do I do with that money that I took profit on? None of it ever makes sense. Nobody has a clear plan. In our group, we do have a clear plan. And in my YouTube, I talk a lot about that clear plan, but in my educational system, I put it into an actionable way to learn it. Now, our community is amazing. I would, again, highly encourage you, click on the link down below, 7 days, free trial, and it's $97 after that per month to keep giving you alpha, letting you know what I'm doing, letting you know what our other coaches are doing. We have 5 coaches. And do me a favor, if you want to see more content like this and you want to keep earning money, hit that subscribe button and hit the notification button so you get access to these videos before anybody else does. Cheers.